3 years is a long time to survive in silence. In the dusty town of Red Willow, tucked between dry hills and a winding river, most people believed they knew each other. They waved from porches, nodded in the general store, and shared smiles in church. But behind the thin wooden walls of a small house at the edge of town, Clara lived a life no one truly saw. Every morning she woke before the sun, moving carefully so she wouldn't disturb Earl. The bruises on her arms and ribs were hidden beneath long sleeves and high collars. If anyone asked, she said she was clumsy. If someone pressed, she laughed it off. Red Willow was the kind of place where people preferred not to look too closely. Earl had not always been cruel. When he first came back from the war, he had been quiet, distant, but still gentle. Then the drinking started, then the shouting, then the fists, and once it began, it never really stopped. For 3 years, Clara lived in fear of the sound of his boots on the floorboards. She learned how to keep her voice soft, her eyes down, her presence small. She learned how to survive. One afternoon, the sky hung low and gray, and the air smelled of rain. Clara was hanging laundry in the yard when Earl came stumbling out of the house, already angry about something she hadn't done. "You think you can just waste my time?" he barked, grabbing her arm too tightly. "I'm sorry," she whispered, the words automatic now. Before he could say anything more, the distant sound of hooves reached them. A rider was coming down the dirt road. Earl released her and turned, irritated. "Who's that?" The cowboy came into view slowly, a tall figure on a chestnut horse. He wore a wide-brimmed hat and a long coat dusted with travel. There was something steady about the way he rode, something calm and deliberate. Clara watched him, her heart pounding. Strangers didn't often come this far out. The cowboy pulled his horse to a stop near the fence. "Afternoon," he called. His voice was low but polite. "I'm looking for the Wilson Ranch. Was told it's somewhere past here." Earl scowled. "You passed it. Keep riding." The cowboy looked at Clara then. Just for a moment. But in that moment, he saw something in her eyes that made him pause. "You all right, ma'am?" he asked. Clara hesitated. Earl's grip tightened on her arm. "She's fine," Earl snapped. The cowboy studied Earl, then Clara again. "Doesn't look like it." Earl took a step forward. "Mind your own business." The cowboy didn't move. "Sometimes it is my business." The air between them grew heavy. Clara felt something strange stirring inside her, something she hadn't felt in years. "Hope. Let's go inside," Earl muttered to her. The cowboy dismounted. "I don't think she wants to." Earl's face flushed with anger. "You trying to tell me how to run my home?" "I'm saying," the cowboy replied evenly, "that nobody deserves to be treated like property." For a long moment, no one spoke. The wind stirred the laundry on the line. Clara's voice trembled, but she found it. "Please," she said softly. "Just let me go." Earl stared at her as if she had betrayed him. His hand lifted. Before it could fall, the cowboy stepped between them. "That's enough," he said. Earl lunged forward, but the cowboy was quicker. He caught Earl's arm and twisted it just enough to make him cry out and drop to his knees. "Don't," the cowboy warned. "I don't want to hurt you. But I will if I have to." Clara backed away, tears streaming down her face. No one had ever stood up for her like this. Earl yanked his arm free and stumbled backward. "You think you're some kind of hero." The cowboy didn't answer. He just looked at Clara. "Do you want to leave?" Her legs felt weak. Leaving felt impossible, but staying felt like a slow death. "Yes," she whispered. The cowboy nodded. "Then you're coming with me." Earl laughed bitterly. "She won't last a day without me." Clara straightened. For the first time in years, she lifted her chin. "I've lasted 3 years with you. I can last the rest of my life without you." The cowboy helped her gather a few things, just a small bag with her clothes and a photograph of her parents. As they walked toward his horse, Clara didn't look back. They rode through the rain that finally began to fall, washing the dust from the road. The cowboy introduced himself as Luke. He didn't ask many questions. He didn't push. He just let her breathe. By the time they reached a small ranch outside of Red Willow, the sun was breaking through the clouds. "You can stay here," Luke said. "As long as you need." Clara stepped down from the horse, her legs shaky but her heart lighter than it had been in years. The first few nights, she barely slept. Every sound made her jump. Luke noticed but said nothing, just left a lantern burning outside her door. Days passed, then weeks. Clara helped with chores, cooked meals, and slowly began to laugh again. It felt strange at first, like using muscles that had been asleep too long. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Clara finally spoke about Earl. About the fear, about the pain. Luke listened without interrupting. "You didn't deserve any of it," he said quietly. Clara wiped her eyes. "I forgot what it feels like to be seen." Luke met her gaze. "You've always been worth seeing." Word spread in Red Willow. People whispered. Some said Clara had run off. Others said Earl had driven her away. No one was brave enough to challenge Earl, but they also couldn't ignore that Clara was gone. Months later, Clara returned to town with Luke. She walked into the general store with her head held high. The townspeople looked at her differently now. Stronger. Free. Earl was there too. He froze when he saw her. Clara didn't shrink this time. She simply walked past him, her hand resting on Luke's arm. "You don't own me," she said calmly. "Not anymore." Earl had no answer. As they stepped back into the sunlight, Clara felt something she had never truly known before: peace. 3 years of fear had not broken her. It had led her to the moment when a cowboy walked through the door and reminded her that her life was her own.